Hey, Adam,
Jeez,
one
why,
thing.
why do you think they're called bumpers, Gary?
I don't know.
Because they come at the beginning, at the end, like bumpers.
Alex, you're a marketing guy. Do you like that design behind Paul? Does that sweet logo thing look pretty cool to you?
Hey, I forgot to hit the record button.
Yeah, that's really professional, isn't it?
Well, this is a professional podcast.
I met her in a parking lot and was handed 2 little Yorkies. And the only person I knew that knew Yorkies was Paul. So I called Paul and said, Paul.
Sweet Talk is a weekly 20-minute podcast brought to you by the Continuing Education and Workforce Training Division of Idaho State University's College of Technology. Find us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and SoundCloud, and subscribe today. Now it's time to get started with Sweet Talk.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Sweet Talk, our weekly podcast here at Idaho State University's Continuing Education and Workforce Training. I am Paul Dickey, the video instruction manager and apprenticeship coordinator here at Sweet. And as always, joining me is Gary Salazar, our director. Gary, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Paul. Thank you for bringing us in. Enjoy that introduction every single time. Hey, we have a great podcast today. And you're doing okay, you said, right? On a Friday?
I'm doing great. And we always have a great podcast, don't we?
Yeah, we do. And then Angela gets to go ahead and post them on Wednesdays. Joining us also is Angela Wilhelm. Angela is our marketing coordinator here at Sweet. Angela, good morning to you. How are you?
I'm doing really well. I'm very excited about today's podcast. We have a guest with us from the United Way. We have Tennille Call. She's the interim director of education for the United Way here in Southeast Idaho. Welcome, Tennille. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your position at the United Way?
Hello, and thanks for having me today. Like she said, I'm the interim director of education for United Way, and I get to do all things education, cradle to career. So lots of different initiatives and things, anything that's from babies to moving on and continuing workforce education related. So.
Oh, perfect. That's right up our alley too.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the
That
baby
is
part,
up
but
our
all the
alley.
workforce. Great. Super. Hey, Tennille, interim education director, congratulations. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing in that job specifically? Is it just the initial baby part, the youngsters? Is it middle school? Are you doing things with like the Skills Development Center? Tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
Yeah, so right now there is a lot of momentum across the state in early learning. So a lot of the initiatives that we're focusing on are related to early learning currently. We do hope that effort and that work in the early learning realm will then continue to impact those through elementary school, middle school, onto continued workforce, and et cetera. So a lot of our efforts are being put there currently. But we still are dabbling in a few things like the platforms to be able to help with the high schoolers to be able to find trainers to come to their schools and things like that. So, but mostly a lot of the focus efforts are in early learning.
Gosh, so it's pretty broad, but right now you have some special programs with the early learning going on. Can you describe one of them or two of them for us for the audience?
Yeah, absolutely. We are working specifically on just educating families on the importance of early learning. I guess families and communities. We're working with parents to empower them to be able to feel like that they can be confident as their students' first and best teachers, and giving them tools and resources that they can use to help teach their kiddos. And then also with that comes the Retalk Play initiative that we are focusing on as well with United Way. It was an initiative started in American Falls that just basically reminds those families to retalk play every day. And that we're hoping that families, schools, businesses, all of the above will will just latch onto that initiative and just help to remember to do that every day and promote it in their workplaces. In Pocatello, we have Read Talk Play every day on Thursday. So if anybody has a Read Talk Play shirt, they can wear it on Thursday, and hopefully we'll be in good company with a lot of other people. And then with that, kind of after educating the community and things like that, we're working directly with preschool providers. Right now we have a six preschool provider cohort. So it's 6 providers in the area that are working to implement a certified curriculum that's research-based, that they're going to be implementing into their programs, and that they are working specifically to increase their quality so that we can then refer parents to quality resources and programs if they are interested in their students attending preschool.
That's awesome.
So I have a question, Tennille. Can you talk about some of these classes, if they're in person, if they're online, and then also where they would be if they are in person, and if there's any cost associated with these early programs?
Yeah, so for parenting classes, we partner with Idaho AEYC for the classes are called Ready for Kindergarten. And it's ready with an exclamation point and then for kindergarten, if you're looking for that online. They are, right now, we have been offering them the last 3 years in American Falls. They are free of charge to families. And we offer them, like, it's a 3-course series. We offer them once a year out in American Falls, and we're hoping to bring those to Pocatello. We're hoping that we will have enough interest in bringing those courses to Pocatello, but again, they would also be free for families there. And then as far as preschool programs and things like that, we're just working with those programs. There's not any specific classes so far that we're working with those programs to become quality programs, and so there's not specific classes or anything for those yet, but for those parenting classes, those are the Ready for Kindergarten.
Those are pretty cool. I just won lunch there, Paul.
So Tennille, so who is your target audience for these type of classes?
So specifically for Ready for Kindergarten, those are our parents. We really want to remind parents the importance of playing and learning through play. I think a lot in our advancing technological world, we don't have a lot of time to sit and play with our kids, or we don't make time to play with our kids. And so it doesn't take a lot of time or a lot of effort. And so we want parents to be able to take these classes and see how simple and easy it is to implement those learning techniques in their daily routines. And then that they can feel empowered to be able to feel like that they're doing some great things to prepare those kiddos for school.
Very cool.
Okay, so I have another question, and this one just came to me. So if I catch you off guard, if you don't have the information, I'm sorry. But when you're starting to talk about the play, talk, read, do you have any statistics offhand about how that impacts children once they get into a primary education or a traditional primary education system?
So Read Talk Play was implemented in American Falls about in 2017, and it started as a community initiative, and then around that initiative we built a preschool initiative and a community initiative, and kind of since 2017 we've kind of been building this and been watching to see kind of how it has impacted the community out there. So I do have some statistics, I guess, of how it's worked in rural American Falls. When we first started the initiative, there were about 19% proficient when kindergartners were coming into school. So not very high. And if you know American Falls community, you know it's really high poverty, and it's about 40% Spanish speaking. So kiddos coming into kindergarten and knowing only Spanish. So lots and lots of challenges for these kiddos when they're already coming in. So 19% proficiency wasn't very high. And so as we've started to implement these efforts this last year, the kindergartners came in at 36% proficiency. So increased their their beginning of the year proficiency, and then they ended the year at 86%
Right.
proficiency, and American Falls was leading the state in end of the year kindergarten scores. So we're feeling like we're watching these scores and this trajectory and feeling like that as we're putting this extra effort and this knowledge around early learning and really boosting and helping these little ones, that the data's not lying, that it is really showing that it's supporting these families, it's supporting these kiddos, that and then hopefully those scores will continue to follow them, and that they'll continue to grow as they go through school.
Excellent.
So what is
excellent.
that? So what
Go
does
ahead,
that
Angie.
proficient? Okay. So what is the proficiency measure? Is that on language, reading? Like what
Yep,
is included in that?
It's the Idaho Reading Indicator. So it is the test that all Idaho students take when they are at the beginning of the year in elementary school.
So it's reading English language only.
Yep.
That's
So-
impressive. What a great number. Sorry, Paul, go ahead.
No. So Tennille, the read, talk, play, how is that broken down? I mean, is that like, do you separate it into separate classes, or is it one class and then you just kind of separate the sections? How do you teach parents to read, talk, and play?
So Read Talk Play is actually just an initiative. It's just the logo. It's just the message. And so we do activities in American Falls for families that support families, but we call them like Read Talk Play Grow. And we invite families to come learn about agriculture and about those types of things and how they can learn about it as a family, or Read Talk Play Create. And we have an art night. And so really the message of Read Talk Play is that one message, that we want to read, talk, and play every day, and that there isn't a lot of training that is required for that message, that it's simple, it's easy for families to grasp, it's not controversial, it's just something that is everybody can understand and everybody can relate to, but it also can be applied in any way that the parents feel like fits best with their family.
Okay, so in this initiative, are you trying to demonstrate that play is just as important as the other things in the academic growth of their kids?
Absolutely. Yep. Those kiddos need time to be able to play. We socialize through play. We learn language through play. We learn all sorts of different things. You can learn even counting through play, even if you're not meaning to. Colors, numbers, all of those things can happen through play.
Hey,
So go ahead, Gary.
Tennille, this is an initiative that you've gotten started in American Falls, but is this a national thing, or did you all start it here in Idaho first in American Falls?
So specifically, this Read Talk Play Every Day was started in American Falls. So it's not a national initiative. It's a locally born grassroots initiative. There are similar national initiatives that are some like Read Talk Sing Write, different things that add some of those different things. And so there are other things that are the same idea, but this specific initiative and logo was born in American Falls.
Oh, that is so incredible. Just a second, Angela. And you said this earlier, and it's so remarkable that the results you're seeing are leading the state in terms of the reading improvement that you're seeing there. And that is fantastic. What a cool initiative you've got going on, obviously with great results. We can come back to that. Angela, go ahead.
So my question's based off what Gary said. It seems like you've really jumped those children about 20 base points. But when you talk about the 40% Spanish speaking population, how do you bridge that gap between Spanish and English in those households?
So we, with a lot of our initiatives and everything that we're doing, we're just trying to promote that with families. So families are doing those things and teaching those in their native language. They're doing a great job at teaching and helping their kiddos in their native language in their homes. And then American Falls has started a dual immersion kindergarten. And so that has helped also to be able to help those Spanish speaking families. So those kids, and it's English and Spanish speaking students, go half day speaking only English at school and half day speaking only Spanish at school. Their teachers speak only Spanish in the afternoon. So in the morning, they do all of their English language arts classes in English, and then they switch to their Spanish teacher, and their Spanish teacher does all of their math and science in Spanish in the afternoon. And they've been doing this for about 3 years, I think. And so the first kids that have piloted that are in 3rd grade, I believe. And so they've added a teacher each year so that those kids stay in the same class and they do the same program. And so I think that that has been also very helpful with those students that are the Spanish speaking only families, that they come to school and that half the day they are speaking their language and everybody else is learning their language as well. And then half the day they're learning in English. But the test, the IRI, is given in English only. So they are still translating those skills to the English only.
Very, very cool. Paul, you had another question. I cut you off. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Tennille, who do you find are the parents that are actually taking part of this initiative? What is it that they hope to get out of it? Is it just the added increase in their ability to learn, or is it the part of it is the socialization of their kids in the community?
So I think a lot of different. I think that parents are seeing that our community is changing. We grew up in communities that didn't have preschool all the time, that some people went to preschool, not everybody did. And so our culture is changing, where we're needing to make sure that we're learning those things before we get to school, that when kids get to school, we're noticing a big gap. There's kids that are reading when they get to school, and then there's kids who maybe are still trying to learn their colors. And so Randy Jensen in American Falls, instead of trying to close that gap, he coined the term or the phrase, they're trying to eliminate that gap. And so that's what we're noticing, is that parents are eager and excited to see that their kids can learn these things. And I think that empowering those parents and helping them to realize that they do more than they think, and they can do more than they think they can do, and that they really are their kids' first and best teachers, that has helped. We're in such a busy world that just reminding parents about those importance of those little moments, I think is empowering to them.
Yeah. Good question. Good response back to Neil. That's incredible. I think you're doing a remarkable job out there. A couple more questions, and then we're going to be getting close to the end. So heads up on that. If you've been doing this for about 3 years now there in American Falls, and you want to come towards Pocatello, so you're trying to show the gains that you're making out there, do you have any favorite stories of some of the results that you've seen that you'd care to share with us?
Yeah. And as we're moving towards Pocatello, we're working really closely with the school district. This year, we've been doing family engagement events in the school district and trying to just get the Read, Talk, Play message out to the families and things like that. Obviously, Pocatello is a lot bigger community than American Falls, and so we're adjusting the ways that we're doing it, but we are excited to be able to see more impact and move towards Pocatello as well. Stories that we've had, there's been families who didn't have the preschool option when their kids were older, their older kids were younger, and their younger kids are participating now. And they have just been so grateful and so excited to be able to have this for their little ones, but also sad that it wasn't available for their older ones. And so that tells us that they're noticing kind of a difference in their family dynamic. Also, I have the opportunity, we do United Way writes grants, and we offer scholarships for families that can't afford the preschool option. And so those families, I think, are my favorite stories, because they're families who want these things for their kiddos, but maybe aren't able to provide them for themselves. So in calling these families and awarding these scholarships, just how grateful they are and how excited they are for their kids to be able to access something that they can't give to them themselves is really impactful, and makes us feel like the work that we're doing is a lot more important.
Super, super. Hey, and before we do hit our timer, what we'd love to do is with all of our guests is give them and give you, Tennille, the opportunity to be reached. If somebody wanted to contact you or at the United Way and they wanted more information on this, is there a best way that they could reach out and learn more or talk with you?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Any information, you can reach out to me for sure at United Way of Southeastern Idaho. And my email is tcall@unitedwaysei.org.
Okay.
Also, another way that we have a website in American Falls that talks a lot about the preschool initiative and some of the Read Talk Play, and that's afpreschools.org.
Cool. Very, very cool. And also for clarification, you've mentioned his name before, Randy Jensen. He's the superintendent out there in American Falls, correct?
Yes, yes.
Good. Yeah. So he's got some great innovative ideas in there, and now he's partnering with you at United Way and doing some wonderful things.
Absolutely.
The ability to increase educational opportunity and access and bringing equity to everybody is one of the major points in higher education today. So the sooner we can start those things and work with families and engage students and all, what a brilliant idea, great initiative on you. I hope this particular show gets out and others around the state see and then start to call and reach out to you on, hey, here's what's going on. That would be a wonderful, wonderful outcome from this. And also the fact that, you're reaching out to the next nearby community in Pocatello and Chubbuck, really, really, that's a great way to go. Hey, I'm sorry, everybody, but if you didn't hear it, the timer went off. We've reached the end of our podcast here. So many great questions still yet to go. So Paul and Angela and Tennille, we're going to have to bring this to a close here. Tennille Call from the United Way, our interim education director out there, doing wonderful things with early learning programs there in American Falls, and also trying to grow that. If you didn't hear the podcast, but part of the podcast before, this is an initiative, the first time being delivered here in Idaho, and they're getting great results. So wonderful thing to look into for your kiddos, for families, engagement, working with kids and making things better for their educational growth. Super. Thank you, Tennille, for joining us today and bringing those great comments in. Paul, Angela, time to wrap this thing up.
Hey, thank you. Yes, Gary, it's time to wrap things up. Tennille, thank you so much for joining us today. It was very informative. I was not aware of this initiative going on, and it sounds remarkable, the strides that you're making. Gary, always, man, I can't do this without you. And
It's
and
you and Angela.
Yeah, so yeah. You don't do anything, Gary.
I do not. No, I don't.
You do not. It's all us.
Yeah, this is a great podcast, primarily because Paul got this thing started with Jason back when, and we've continued now until our fifth. Are we in our fourth or fifth year now, Paul?
Fifth year.
Yes.
Fifth year. Oh,
Yeah, fifth year.
And then bringing Angela in on this thing too. It's just an amazing team. Thank you both so much.
No, and it's so nice to have guests like Tennille on who can share what developing in our communities. And I learned so much. Tennille, I learned so much being on this podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to get a hold of us or maybe check out what we have to offer here at Continuing Education Workforce Training, you can visit our website at cetrain.isu.edu. You can give us a quick email at cetrain@isu.edu, or give us a call at 208-282-3372. And if you like this content, please like, subscribe, share. We really appreciate the outreach, and it just lets us share our message and our guest message much better when we can spread that out a little more. Thank you so much.
Okay, everybody, be good. Be safe out there.